PDP! PDP! When I came on board as a president, I noticed that though in the country, on paper, there is this program that every state must get a federal government-owned university. But out of the 36 states we have, 12 had no federal universities. 12. But there's a policy of government. And people were deceiving Nigerians that they were doing something. I said we must establish the 12 universities in the remaining 12 states, start as small universities and grow up. And we have done that successfully, and the universities are growing up gradually. We did not stop there. We look at the school dropouts in some parts of the country, and they were quite high. And we come up with the Al-Majari program, educational program. And I have to thank the governors from most of those states that we have those set of students. We have this program, Al-Majari, for areas where we have the Al-Majari students, and we have the program for out-of-school children, for areas that, because of trading and businesses, some young people couldn't go to school, to get special schools. And now the governors have key in, and the program is going on. Can somebody who have no plan, who have no plan for the young people, who have no plan for the country, think about that program? No. We believe that you people will take us to the moon. My generation have failed. We couldn't take Nigeria to the moon. Look at what India is doing. Look at what countries that were par are doing now at independence. And I say, for us to get to the moon, that's a special area. And you need to expose your best brains. And I came up with a special scholarship that you first of all must make a first class in your university. We have scholarship for everybody, but for that one, you first of all make a first class from your university. Then we test and take the first class of the first class and send them to the best 25 universities, the best 25 universities in the world. Can somebody who has no plan do that? No. Can somebody who has no plan for the future do that? No. Can somebody who does not think about the Nigerian youth do that? No. Do you want to go back to those days where they have no plan for us? No.
In the developed and the still developing countries across the globe, equitable access to qualitative education is the bedrock on which their economic, political, and technological empowerment is built. Although the dynamics, pace, and direction of each nation's educational policies vary, the focus and ultimate goal remains the overall advancement of the critical public and private sectors of the individual nations. The supportive argument is that education, both formal and non-formal, is necessary if societies are to grow beyond their settings to more scientifically and technologically advanced ones. This is to enable them to function optimally in relations with other civilized societies. In this connection, innovations and a strong and dynamic base of expertise and technical know-how are the key ingredients nations require, especially in a world where competition shows no sign of weakening and every sign of getting even tougher than it currently is today. Developments in information and communication technology have especially redeemed and reordered global events and are continuing to transform human lives, business, and production structures. Today, more than ever, the world needs scientific and technological innovations to help it solve its myriads of problems. As a developing nation, Nigeria is caught deep in the web of countries constantly probing and re-evaluating their educational policies to help them to be on the same scientific and technological wavelength with every other country. Such efforts require vision, not just simple nuts and bolts, no matter how high-tech those nuts and bolts may be. This requires, therefore, that Nigeria, particularly its leaders, must think in new ways and courageously do the needful to promote access to education generally. Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, since assuming office in 2010 as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of her armed forces, had continued to declare that today's young people will have a key role in resolving tomorrow's national and global challenges, and the job of government is to encourage youths and help them on their way to self-development via formal education corridors.
The president, being an academic, I'm not saying he's biased, he's brought education to the forefront, to the front burner. And the success of the transformation agenda will depend on education. You need a critical mass of knowledgeable individuals to drive that system.
President Jonathan has at various fora, therefore, told the nation that he is cognizant of the vital role education plays in the human life, global and national economies. Hence, his administration is determined to provide the Nigerian people, particularly the youth, with qualitative and functional education that will not only make them daring employers of labor, but also entrepreneurs in both the public and private sectors of the economy.
Investment in education is enormous, but the returns are very slow. You can't start seeing the results until 2, 3, 4 years when those who are seen abroad come. Through the linkages with academics and experts in diaspora, this program, diasporan professors who have Nigerian extraction are coming home. Some are even electing to stay. So the issue of the brain drain, we are probably trying to address the issue now. So we made tremendous effort, and I have great hope for this country in the right direction. The president has continued to tell us that if we get it right, he's in support of what we're doing.
In this regard, President Goodluck Jonathan has always insisted that the onus was on his administration to improve access to higher education for the hundreds of thousands of qualified school leavers who miss out on opportunities each year because of the limited numbers of places in the existing tertiary institutions in the country.
I solemnly undertake and swear to observe and respect the provisions of the Federal University Latvia Law and Statutes. Otherwise, my admission should be determined by the university authority.
I. You have various names, okay? On 31st day of July 2012, do solemnly swear and undertake to pursue learning, knowledge, character, and moral training diligently. To respect the rules and regulations of the university and to obey its constituted authorities at all times.
I solemnly and sincerely promise and declare that I will be obedient and pay due respect to the Vice Chancellor and other officers of Federal University Kashere.
If I am found to have forged credentials to obtain admission into the university, I shall deem myself to have forfeited my right to remain a student of the university. Or take a degree of the university.
Solemnly and publicly pledge that as a student of the Federal University of Nigeria, I will be obedient and pay due respect to the Vice Chancellor.
I solemnly and sincerely pledge as a student of Federal University Twoke to pursue my studies diligently,
A focused, determined, and resolute visionary that he is, President Goodluck Jonathan never played politics with the idea of establishing new federal universities in places he considered needed such amenity. Mr. President certainly saw sense in the immortal words of Walter Rodney, who wrote, and I quote, "A society develops economically as its members increase jointly their capacity for dealing with the environment, that is, solving their problems. This capacity is dependent on the extent to which they understand the laws of nature, that is, science, and on the extent to which they put their understanding into practice by devising tools, that is, technology, and in the manner in which work is organized. End of quote. A bit paraphrased by the scriptwriter. As a first major step, therefore, the Federal Executive Council, led by President Goodluck Jonathan, had in late 2010 approved the creation of 6 new federal universities to bridge what it called the admission gap for Nigerian students.
Its transformation agenda in education has no doubt transformed a lot of other states that did not have federal university existing in their size before today.
We expect this federal university to bring a lot of development to Dusima and to Katsina State as a whole.
The Jigawa State, with its teeming youth who are thirsty for education, thirsty for learning, have today found an avenue by which that thirst could be realized and that thirst could be quenched.
Already, Gombe State and the local community have started enjoying the presence of the university in our midst. It has created jobs for the teething number of youths, while business and other investment opportunities have opened up.
It's a day of history, and I'm excited that this laudable project is being started during my tenure.
The gesture extended to us by Mr. President in providing the university to Lafia is beyond what anybody can express his thinking. We are committedly happy, and we remain ever grateful to Mr. President for starting the university in Lafia.
I would like to congratulate every member of this university community for this very gracious gift given to Kogi State by Mr. President Goodluck Jonathan.
Federal University of Otueke is one of the first lines recently established by the federal government to demonstrate its excellency. Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's belief that education is the #1 tool for nation building.
The Vice Chancellor is very passionate about agriculture. And on his arrival here, when the university is yet to take off, he said we should not just fold our hands because we are in an agrarian community. He commissioned the faculty, he supported the faculty financially, and based on the time of the year, we could only grow maize and soybean. Today, we are happy to inform this community and the national community that we have for now 42 bags of 100 kilograms each for soybean and 24 bags of 100 kilograms each for maize. The harvesting is yet to be completed.
On behalf of the Kwara people in Nigeria and our spiritual and political leader, Abuka, we are giving the best of our blessings and prayers for the growth of this institution and fulfillment of all the good intentions for the federal government of Nigeria. And to give the assurance to the government of Nigeria that all it takes for the government and the presidency of President Goodluck Jonathan to succeed, the Kwara people will be strongly and completely in Allah continue to bless our.
President Jonathan was also quick in advising the country's National Economic Council, NEC, to approve the upgrade of 6 already existing federal universities to mega tertiary institutions with absorptive capacity of 150,000 students to 200,000 students each. By February of 2011, the Jonathan administration had established 9 brand new federal universities across the country. Today, there is a federal university in Lafia, Nasarawa State, North Central Zone. There is a federal university in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, also in the North Central Zone. Kashere Town in Akko local government area of Gombe State in the northeast of the country has also had a federal university.
This vision has been effectively translated into concrete interventions by the Honorable Minister of Education, the Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, the Executive Secretary, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, the Registrar, Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, and their able staff.
On behalf of the university management and staff, I congratulate our pioneer students for gaining admission into the Federal University Lokoja.
Through other special grants from the federal government, we were able to hire both academic and non-academic staff. I'm happy to announce that as of today, we have employed 372 academic and non-academic staff.
Also, Wukari town in Taraba State, northeast of Nigeria, now plays host to a federal university, and so too is Dutse town in Katsina State, northwest of the country. Dutse in Jigawa State, northwest of the country. Otuoke town in Bayelsa State, south-south Nigeria, is host to a federal university, same as Oye Ekiti in Ekiti State, southwest Nigeria. The 9th Federal University is located in Undufe Alieke in Ebonyi State, southeast of Nigeria.
Matriculation is much more than the exciting ceremony that is often associated with. In a broader sense, this ceremony is only the beginning of your development process, and that development will not be fully realized without your cooperation and commitment.
The university took off on the 14th of July 2012, the day it opened its gates to the pioneer students for the 2011-2012 academic year.
We are starting with a total student population of 205, in line with the directive of the NUC not to admit a large number of students. One of the major problems facing the older universities is over-enrollment, such that numbers are far in excess of available facilities and more than the number the academic staff can handle.
By the authority of Senate, I admit you all as student members of the Federal University Otuoke. Congratulations.
Our vision in this university is to become a vibrant center of learning and research that will be reputable nationally and internationally, and a hub for the economic transformation and development of the region through creative and innovative endeavors.
My challenge here in this school is to be an excellent child and also to make my parents proud of being here.
We are slowly getting space and we are going to be among the future universities, leading universities in Nigeria.
In very quick succession, the Jonathan administration approved the establishment of 3 additional federal universities in Zamfara, Kebbi, and Yobe states to bring the number to 12. All the new universities are being built in phases. It is resolved to make government take responsibility for the well-being of the new federal universities. The Jonathan administration disbursed huge sums of money with each of the 12 new institutions getting 3.5 billion naira stabilization fund to stabilize their activities.
I've seen the environment and being people who are really interested in receiving their visitors, especially myself as their son, I'll make sure I contribute immensely and also seek advice of the well-meaning people from Guzo and Zamfara.
The Honorable Minister for Education, the Secretary, National University Commission, my sister, the Director of Higher Education in the Federal Ministry of Education. We are thankful that you have come here to open our new universities and at the same time to look for a site for the open universities.
The federal government has continued to remind the nation that the concept of equity necessitated the establishment of the universities, as it was only fair for all the 36 states of the Federation to have a university, so as to create equal opportunities amongst young Nigerians.
From the records I've seen and the briefings I've received, we are making tremendous progress.
The National Universities Commission, NUC, which is our accreditation body that enforces uniform standard and sets admissions capacity of every university in Nigeria, said from 2002 to date, It has established and licensed about 70 additional institutions across the country. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Professor Julius Okogie, says the effort is aimed at expanding access and improving quality.
Not too long ago, Nigeria had the pleasure of announcing that out of the 19 African Centers of Excellence, there are 10 of them in Nigeria. And the NGREN is the first operational one in West Africa.
The general impression of the NUC is that the NUC is a blessing to our educational system. It has really proved to be a very good intervention in monitoring and supervision of the tertiary education, particularly university education.
Professor Okogie explained that in line with presidential directives, the NUC has since commenced entrepreneurial studies to make Nigerian university graduates job creators rather than job seekers.
Mr. President, on transformation agenda, we also have the Presidential Scholarship Scheme for Innovation and Development. We have sent about 200 students to the best top 25 universities in the world, and I'm hoping that by the time they come back, they will have meaningful input and impact in that system.
Certainly, securing admissions in the country's lean university system has been a nightmare for many students because of the shortfall of tertiary institutions and limited admission slots. Nigerians have therefore continued to shower praises on President Goodluck Jonathan for his vision and avowed commitment to the overall development of the Nigerian youth and the education sector. As the Nigerian nation marches on in her political and socio-economic journey, history will indeed be kind to President Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan for taking bold steps in expanding access to qualitative education to young Nigerians in all parts of the country. In his great memo, the development magician of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, wrote, and I quote, "It has taken me some time to see the obvious, that talent is a country's most precious asset. It is the defining factor." End of quote. Other defining factors of the developmental successes of most nations extend to their empowerment of the younger generation via formal and non-formal higher education. For President Goodluck Jonathan, formal Western education holds the big key to the general advancement of the human capacity and the Nigerian society as the world continues to prepare new grounds in science and technology and gravitates towards cloning humans to inhabit other planetary bodies. Nigeria must keep up with the pace to be a major player in global events.